Wake up, wake up. It's time to rise and sing the praise of Jesus. Hallelujah, hallelujah. It's time to rise, to sing, to shout, to bring him all your heart. He'll do the bigger part if you will only make a start.
Wake up! Wake up!
Have a magnificent moment, everyone. Welcome to our newest 5-day devotional series for the youth and the new generation entitled The Fresh Youth Series. This is another sub-production of the 7 Minutes with God inspirational devotionals. In this series, we will be tackling ideal suggestions and experiential motivations to the youth of our generation. However, this inspirational devotionals is not only for the youth, but also for all who are interested, especially as we aim to understand and relate with the present-day young bloods. So with special invitation, I am encouraging all teenagers, adolescents, and young people to witness God's devotional that will enhance your youthful greatness. Again, this is your new devotional series, The Fresh Youth. And this is the first offering of the 5-part series that will inspire all of us every morning. F in Fresh stands for Filiation. That is why our topic for this moment is the Filial Youth. And you will be joined by your online inspirational evangelist and youth advisor, Brother Noy Gonzaga. Shall we open these thoughts of inspiration with a verse found in Philippians 4:5, and it says, "Let your gentle spirit be known to all men, because the Lord is now very near." Friends, this is a great biblical reflection of filiation and a command by God for us to be promoters of human filiation. So that we will not dangle too much and we can manage our time, let us focus our attention to 4 common questions in filiation. Question number 1. Is it wrong to have a filial relationship between 2 youths? Question number 2. Is there an adverse effect when youths are deprived of socialization with opposite gender? Question number 3. Where is the right place for our youth to have filiation with the aim of building a future family? Question number 4 and last. What is the foundation of an effective and constructive filiation between opposite genders? Friends, have a great time with God today as we again celebrate greatness in 7 Minutes with God. The youth of today can be considered the greatest sector of community with the highest probability of identity confusion and identity crisis. Well, isn't it that there are instances of telling them that they should not associate very close with the opposite genders because that will result to something undesirable that may even distort their progression of being a successful being. However, it is also the expectation of society that people should know how to socialize with each other, for humans are created as a social being. So there is now a conflict of how far is too far and how limited is too limited. That is why we need to help our youths realize the correct filiation in terms of their existence. Now, the first focal point is it wrong for a youth to have filial relationship with a fellow youth, especially those that are of the opposite gender? Well, the best way to do social orientation is not to distort the communal normality of the situation. Meaning, you cannot create a community of all men or all women only. So instead of protectively trying to be inconsiderate with the social norm or the societal norm, it is then very advisable that filial association between 2 persons, especially with the opposite gender, be allowed, and if possible, with guidance and advices from the adults of society. It is not normal for youths to be deprived of socialization with fellow youths, especially if the foundational reason is to prevent them from having wrongful attributes in the process. Actions and insinuations like this will create deeper curiosity and interest in trying things that are illogically deprived of them. Thus, youths should always grow normally And if there are things that society needs to educate them with, it should be done by teaching them and not distorting normality to avoid certain perceptions. Now, the second focal point is there an effect if there will be deprivation of filial relationship between two youthful persons? The answer is yes. Researchers are clear that when there is a deprivation of filial relationship between young people, may it be in a school setting or other setups, there will be untoward resultants. This is the very reason why exclusive gender-based education today is almost becoming infamous already because of the altered sexuality of the exclusivity of gender admission. Remember, man and woman are supposed to really associate even in the familial level and even in the neighborhood level. That is why altering this will mean social dysfunctional possibility in the attitude or behavior of the growing youngster. The next focal point is, where then is the right place for the youth to socialize, especially with the aim of having a future family? Well, the right place to practice civility and morality and socialization between two persons of the opposite gender is actually in their collegiate educational experience. In short, in college. Here, the youth already develop sensibilities and therefore they are already having the control of what is right and what is wrong, the perception of what is right and what is wrong. Thus, in a system that there is very strict rules, the young minds will read this as over-infusion of protocols due to lack of trust to the sector of the youth. This may lead to greater struggles, rule deflations, and protocol counterbacking. Meaning, negative reinforcement is not the best way to address the filiation progression of a certain society. This is where the most neglected methodology, which is positive reinforcement, is always realized. Remember, if there will be no positive reinforcement and only strong penal provisions for violations, chances are youth will graduate college without the concept of finding the right person in the right place. When college ends and youth will already separate ways, the greater chance of finding a life partner with the same religious beliefs will also lower significantly. That is why let us be careful with the powerful instincts of always focusing on the penalty of violation rather than the positive mentorship which will create lasting learning experiences with the youth in their filial development. Now for our last focal point. Where then is the best foundational training for filial relationship starts? Where does everything start? Well, this question is a little bit confusing, but if understood, it is very simple. Filial relationship, especially with opposite genders, starts at home. Parents should design ways wherein at least there will be 2 rooms for the children, one for the ladies and one for the gentlemen. Of course, this only applies when there are multiple children in the family. The reason for this is, male children should be taught how to approach, respect, and deal with their siblings who are female and vice versa. The aspect of social correctness and normative morality will then be culturally engraved to these growing up children. Thus, when they go out of their homes, there is already an experiential filial relationship between 2 opposite genders, and when this will already be socially practiced in the community, there will be no great adjustments or cultural disintegration because this is already practiced at home. Yes, dear friends, especially the youth of today, always remember the home is a great molding place for filial training. However, if there are insufficiencies in the way that you are being raised, and you will have issues and questions regarding filial relationship with the actual community already, especially the opposite genders. Remember, you can always ask adult persons whom you trust. You can also discuss this with your parents. If you are in institutions availing of guidance and counseling services, will be a great option. Remember, curiosity will always help science to evolve, but it does not have the warranty on morality. So therefore, ask, because at times, one question will be the difference between making the right and the wrong decisions. So to the youth of today, socialization by means of filial relationship is not necessarily wrong, as long as these are done to complement the normal social responsibility of every human being. Remember, too much leeway can mean lesser guidance, and that is wrong. Too much strictness is also prone to emotional fatigue and confusion, and that is also wrong. The best thing to do is train the youth to decide responsibly on their own, and as adults, make ourselves available when they have consultations and inquiries that needs to be addressed. God, in His own mental prowess, created woman to address the filial needs of man, and vice versa, because it is impossible to have reproduction without filiation. Thus, let us help society normalize by guiding and molding our youth in their filial experiences in life. This is your 7 Minutes with God special series entitled The Fresh Youth. F in Fresh stands for Filiation. It is my hope and advocacy that youths and other members of society will or were benefited with God's messages through these inspirational devotionals. Let us always remember the youth is always considered the future of our country, and they will also be the greatest missionaries of our churches. That is why, in their quest to live a normal life, they should be guided in a godly way. To the youth of this generation, remember God is the greatest model of being an effective and constructive filial youth. God bless everyone. God bless the youth.
Wake up, wake up, it's time to rise and sing the praise of Jesus. Hallelujah, hallelujah. It's time to rise, to sing, shout, to bring Him all your heart. He'll do the bigger part, if you will only make a start.
Wake up! Wake up!